Hey everyone, this is Stelly after with Closer, and in today's video I'm going to share a simple but powerful hack on how to use back-channel sales to increase conversion, response, and close rates in your deals and to make your life a lot easier in sales, all right? So here's the deal. When you're selling, life is hard, right? It's challenging, it's a tough job, and most salespeople, no matter how much they are thinking of themselves as team players, they are very much kind of fighters on their own. They're very much trying to conquer every deal themselves, right? And they're trying to do all the work on their own. They fully rely on their power, their energy, their work ethic to make things happen. And that's awesome. That's one of the reasons I love salespeople, right? They're very kind of self-reliant, self-empowered people. But that can, if you overdo that, it can harm you. And one way that happens is when you are trying to close a deal and you're trying to do it all on your own, and you're not utilizing the resources around you to make the deal better or to make closing the deal easier. So I'll give two examples on how to use back-channel sales to make that happen for you. Back-channel sales just simply means as a concept that you're utilizing some other person in the company to communicate with your prospect while the deal is ongoing to help you close the deal. There's two simple scenarios where we're gonna use this. So typically, and you can do this in all kinds of flavors and varieties, but the most powerful way to do back-channel sales is usually you utilize somebody within the company of higher perceived standard status or ranking, right? So if you are an account executive, it could be the head of accounts or the head of sales or the VP of sales or even one layer above, the CEO, right? It doesn't really matter who it is. I mean, the higher you go, the better the perception and probably also the better the impact of this back channel communication. But you take somebody that seemingly is more important than you need to put your ego aside for a second here, and have that person communicate with your prospect in order to help you with a deal. And there is multiple use cases for that, right? Sometimes when a deal is going well, you want a higher ranked person within the company to reach out to the deal in a back channel way and just share some words of encouragement or share that the company truly cares and appreciates the potential partnership in the future. I have this all the time when my team works on a good deal, and they know that the prospect knows my content, watches my videos, reads the blog posts, and they like the stuff that I put out there. My salespeople will reach out to me and go, Stella, I'm working on this deal. They're fans of yours, or they really loved your recent video about X, Y, and Z. They really thought it was valuable. Can you get in touch with them? Write them a quick note. Tell them that you heard a lot of great things about them from me. We're really excited as a business to work with them in the future, and that you make yourself accessible and available if you can ever be useful or helpful to them. And typically, and this is going to be one of the tips in this video, my sales team is, knows already process-wise to have this little message that they want me to pass on to the prospect already written out. So they just copy and paste and say, could you take 20 seconds right now, Stelly, and send this person this email? And then it's as easy as saying, no problem. I copy paste, I send the email. And what happens here is that the customer it's just a nice little touch to show the customer that the company really cares, so that somebody really high up in the business, the CEO, the founder, or the VP of sales or whatever, really cares that people in the company are involved in this deal and that they make themselves accessible and available to help in any way possible. And a lot of times when I send these kind of emails, people just send back and they're really excited, they're really happy, they're really appreciative, and they're impressed that we go beyond what they're used to make the deal happen, but also to make them successful and happy. So this is a very soft way of using this, right? Things are going well, you don't really need help, but you use the back channel tactic just to sweeten the deal, just to make the customer, just to give them a little wow moment, just to show them that we go the extra mile, that somebody that shouldn't really be involved or care about this deal does care about them in the deal, and they are important, right? It's a nice touch. You don't want to overdo it. It doesn't have to happen in every deal, but it's a very small thing that can have a big impact on the deal and how the customer feels about this deal. That's a soft way of using it. Now, there's more extreme or challenging cases where you want to use back channel sales and back channel communication to make something happen. One obvious example is when the customer goes quiet, right? So you follow up, you follow up, you follow up. And one follow-up strategy that I haven't written about yet, but I'll share exclusively with you here in this video, is back channel follow-up, right? So you follow up multiple times, the prospect has gone quiet, so now what do? I mean, you can just keep banging your head against the wall and trying and attempting, but one thing you can do is you can escalate it to another person. Ideally, a person that seems more important, seems to have more status, so it becomes harder for the prospect to ignore, and it becomes something that the prospect might appreciate. So in our case, once in a while, somebody on the sales team might get in touch with me and go, Stelly, this deal, I can't get hold of them anymore. I don't know what's going on with them. Can you send them this email? And again, the pro tip here is when you ask somebody within your company to do back channel communication with a prospect of yours and help you in back channel selling them, you have to do all the work for them. Take away any kind of friction to make this a simple and quick and fast process. Don't shovel shit, as my friend Heaton Shah would say, of like, you think that your deal needs an email from the CEO, and you email the CEO and tell them, can you just send this deal an email and tell them something? No, like don't push the work to the CEO. Make sure you prepare everything, you make it seamless. So you send the CEO an email and you say, hey, CEO, could you please just copy and paste this and send it to this prospect? Here's the context around it. Make it easy for them to help and comply and be utilized as a channel for you, as a help for you. So somebody goes quiet, all of a sudden, the CEO sends an email and goes, hey, I know that you've been in talks with Mary. I know that's been a while ago, and Mary told me that she tried to reach out to you multiple times. You guys seem like you would be the perfect fit, so I was really bummed that we weren't able to progress this. But so I wanted to personally just reach out and make myself available if there's anything I can do to make this deal happen, if there's anything I can do to help you, if there was any question you had or anything you didn't like, let me know. I personally will make sure to give this attention and help you guys succeed. And you'd be surprised how many times people that go quiet once they hear from somebody that seems to be more important, and they reach out with that, with the personal touch, they'll respond and they go, I apologize, some other priorities happen, and hence why we did this, or like they'll be back in the deal, right? And they'll love that you reached out to them and that you took the effort, took the time, took the energy to be involved. So you can use back channel selling when when everything is going well and you just want to make it even sweeter by showing them how much the company cares. You can use back channel sales when a prospect goes quiet and you need to follow up. You can use back channel sales when things go really, really bad, right? When a deal was going well and then there was a call, or in the final negotiation stage, there's been an argument, or there's been something that the customer or prospect was really disappointed about, really angry about, rationally or not rationally, something doesn't go well. Now, in these cases, usually what do we want to do as salespeople? We want to blame the prospect, and then we want to hide the whole interaction. We want to forget about it, we want to hide it, we want to pretend it never happened. You need to be better than that. Number one is you need to own up for the responsibility of whatever happened. You were part of that deal, you're owning that deal, and if there was a big argument, you might think that they responded in an unreasonable fashion, but you contributed to it. It takes two to tango, so you could have managed it better and you didn't. Now that the situation seems to be in a really bad spot, it's probably going to be really hard for you to turn this around, especially when you're not that experienced. And this back channel selling, it becomes increasingly more important the less the experiences that you have. It is always useful. You could be the CEO of a company, use back channel sales, and use your investors and VCs or other CEOs or reporters or anybody that's an advisor or anybody that has status to help you out. Nobody's above using this tactic. But if you're more junior, you're going to be getting more ROI from this tactic, because in many situations, you're actually not going to know exactly how to deal with this or how to manage this, or how to make the prospect feel like they're really important, really valued, and somebody of very high status within the organization is responsible for them. So when things go really wrong, especially when you're more junior in your job, you want to absolutely involve others and help them help you. So one thing that has happened quite often over the years is that prospect and one of my guys will get into some really high friction situation, and then the sales rep again will prepare an email, and I will reach out to them and send that email and basically just go, hey, I heard that X, Y, and Z happened. I want to make myself personally available to jump on a quick call and figure out what happened, how do we resolve this, how do we move forward, right? So when things go wrong, when something doesn't go quite right, you can always do that. You can use back-channel sales from a management perspective to measure performance, right? So you could, when deals go well or when deals are lost, you can check in and just shoot them an email and go, hey, you talked to Bob a while ago. You guys tried to make something happen. The deal didn't quite work out. I wanted to personally just get in touch because it looks like it would be a perfect fit. So I was really curious why it didn't work out. Bob told me the reasons were X, Y, and Z, but from one manager to another, or from one founder to another, or from one whatever Greek person to another, or from whatever similarity you have, from one human to another human being, was that really the reason, or was there something else? Right? And magic will happen. People will open up, and they will share data, information, insights. Sometimes the deal will get back into play, right? And you're going to be able to go and close it. But even in the many cases where that might not be possible, you will learn. You will get insight about the performance of the sales rep. You'll get insight about your business, your prospect, something that was really not going well and that maybe the sales rep wasn't aware of and needs more coaching and help with, but maybe you weren't aware of and you needed to hear that to be a better manager and to provide more training or to change the strategy in the company even for how you go about selling this. So the whole idea is that just because one rep is talking to one prospect, that relationship doesn't have to stay in a vacuum. And you as the rep want to utilize your colleagues, your bosses, other people within the organization to communicate with that prospect in order to move things forward. Doesn't matter if it's things are going well and you want the prospect to hear more good things from more good people in the company. Doesn't matter if the deal has gone quiet. You want to re-engage the prospect and they're not responding to you. You want to utilize somebody else, a fresh face, somebody that's more important or perceived to be more important to reach out. Or if things go south or even if a deal is lost, you can always utilize the resources around you to gain more insight, gain more knowledge, to get more feedback on how things are going. And you can do this in many, many cases. Like you can do this when you close a deal. We did a lot of back channel communication when we were raising money, and we had like our current investors communicate with prospective investors we're trying to get into the round. And after we would pitch, we would have these other investors ping the investors we just pitched and ask for feedback. So we would get all kinds of intel and we would move things around, and play invisible chess with those investors involved in our round by utilizing back channel communication to move things forward and to learn more about what's really going on. So this is a tactic and a strategy you can use in many, many different cases. The more junior you are, the more aggressively you want to utilize the people around you, the invisible sales team. Even if they don't work for you, you can make them work for you, right? My brother, when he was 4, was asked if he had a girlfriend once by an uncle of mine, and he said, "Not one, I have 4." And everybody laughed, and then my mom asked if any of these 4 girlfriends know they're his girlfriends, and he said, "No." Right? So your CEO can be your sales assistant. Your sales manager can be your sales assistant. Your whatever investor can be your sales assistant. They don't have to know it, right? It's just the way you think about the people in your company, utilize them as resources to empower your prospects to move a deal forward and to make it better and bigger and make it close faster. So very simple strategy, incredibly underutilized. It's the basics, people, right? It's always the basics that are going to make the biggest difference and the basics that are going to be most ignored by your competition. So if you take this up and you make this your own, part of your own, the fabric of how you work, you're going to see results everybody else isn't seeing. So I hope you take this and run with it. It's an oldie but goodie. And if you have any comments or any ideas to share, please share them in the commenting section. Make sure to go to blog.close.io and subscribe to our blog. If you ever want to reach out to me directly, shoot me an email, stelly@close.io. Let's go and get them.